It seems like just yesterday that we just lost Bubba, and we've already gone to pick up his ashes, and the pain is just so real. Losing him just honestly hurts so much, and it just really makes life feel so bleak lately. And especially as mom continues to get worse and caring for her just gets so much harder every single day. Now that Bubba's gone, the hole that he leaves is just immense. And it's really hard to find joy in doing anything, even making YouTube videos, which is why I've missed so many weeks in a row. And this week, this comment just resonated so much with me. Talking about the fear of getting a pet and the fear of bonding so closely that the pain of losing them would be just unbearable. And it's a thought that I've been struggling with a lot over the last couple of weeks. That somehow it might be better to just have never experienced this love in the first place, so that it wouldn't hurt so much. That somehow avoiding the pain would be better than experiencing the hurt that comes with losing something or someone that you love. And this wasn't the first time that I felt this way, thinking that pain was bad and should be avoided at all costs. I remember when we first came to the States and my parents enrolled me in preschool. I loved playing with the other kids, and I loved going out to the playground during recess. My parents would usually drop me off a little early, and before class started, I'd always run out to the playground and just play on the monkey bars until we had to go inside. I remember one morning in particular, the dew had settled on the grass and on the monkey bars, and I was running up to go play on them as I usually did. The bell rang and we all had to go inside, and the teachers called out for us to go line up. But not wanting to miss out on the opportunity, I jumped up on the monkey bars to get at least one swing in before I had to go in. But the bars were slippery from the morning dew, and the next thing I knew, my hand had slipped off of the bar and I came crashing down onto the ground. I felt my arm break as soon as it hit the ground, and I ran up to the teacher holding my arm, crying, telling her that my arm was definitely broken, to which they quickly called my parents to come pick me up. At the hospital, they had to take a bunch of x-rays and they had to move my arm into a whole bunch of different positions. And I remember it hurting like crazy. I couldn't stop crying, and I just remember thinking, why did it have to hurt so much? And especially after I got my cast put on and they told me that I wouldn't be able to play on the monkey bars and I wouldn't be able to use my arm for at least a couple of weeks. I just remember wishing with all my heart that somehow I couldn't feel pain. That I could just continue doing the things that I loved, like playing on the monkey bars and going swimming. And so to me, pain was bad, and it was something that I wanted to avoid at all costs. Even as I got older, pain was something that I continued to see as only detrimental. Especially as I started working out and I started to see my body change, I had all these strength and physique goals that I had set for myself. The way I saw it, pushing it every day and working out every day was the only way I would be able to achieve my goals. And so with the pain of soreness, and especially when the pain of injury set in, I always saw those as detrimental to my progress. Just taking it overly hard on myself and just constantly wishing I didn't have to feel it because it was holding me back. But even more than just physical pain, there was no pain that I wish I could have escaped more than the emotional pain of not being accepted by my peers and especially the girls that I liked. As I've shared in the past, the emotional pain of not being accepted by my peers, especially when I was trying so hard to get them to like me, was a whole different level of pain that I was entirely unprepared for. I remember during that difficult period, there were times where I would stay up in the middle of the night, not being able to sleep, and just look out the window wishing that I didn't have this feeling of wanting friends. Seeing everybody else making friends and me just feeling like an outsider no matter what I did, it just hurt so much that I wish I didn't have that feeling at all. Wanting more than anything to receive some sort of relief from the pain of rejection that I was feeling. Which is why these days, seeking relief from pain is something that just seems all too familiar. And especially so when it comes to feeling it while I'm taking care of mom as she continues to get worse. Lately, mom isn't even able to drink Ensure anymore like she is in this clip from just a short while ago. It's so hard to watch, and it's so hard to be present daily, watching her choke on every mouthful that she takes, and the pain of just watching her suffering through this while we're all trying to do our best for her, it just hurts more than anything I've ever experienced. And so it was amidst this backdrop that made the loss of Bubba so especially painful, that it led me to the dark thought that I wish I had never met him in the first place. And worse yet, when it comes to mom, that I wish I had never been born at all. And so it was so especially timely when I came across this comment that just spoke to me. Debbie here wrote that grief is love with nowhere to go. And when I read that, it just opened my eyes to the reality of this pain and extreme sorrow that I'm feeling right now. You see, I had become so focused on the depth of the pain and the hurt and the grief that I'd forgotten about the equal depth of the love that drives them. And Debbie's comment just reminded me that the pain is so sharp and so real because the love is so deep and so true. And this is not something that I can take for granted because the opportunity to experience this type of love is not something that everybody has. Like, how lucky was I to have a cat that loved to cuddle this much and was this well behaved? I remember one time going out shopping, wanting to get food, and taking Bubba with us, and I carried him around the entire plaza, holding him like a baby. Going into all the different stores together and him being so behaved in my arms, just getting compliments from everybody telling me how nice of a cat I had. And thinking back on this now, would I trade this treasured memory for relief from this pain that I'm feeling? I have to say no. Or all the times where Bubba jumped into my lap and just curled up and slept there, would I trade those times for relief from this pain? Definitely not. And so I'm just so reminded that even though it hurts immensely right now, that there was just so much joy and so much love that we experienced. And I just want to take this lesson forward and continue to remind myself of it daily as I take care of Mom as she continues to decline. And especially as things get really hard and frustrating, to not succumb to those dark thoughts. To not focus on the loss and the pain, but to remind myself of the love that drives them. That the grief and the pain is truly because the love is so real. And even though it hurts more than I can imagine, the truth is I would not trade the experience of my mom's love for anything. And just like what was shared in yet another encouraging comment, despite the pain, it is better to have loved than to have never experienced this love at all.